Hi everyone, my name is Michelle and I'm MommaLovesYouGB here on FlossTube, but also over on Instagram and Etsy as well. Welcome to the Sunday morning briefing. It must be the 12th of February and I think this is it's either 102 or 103. I forgot to look. How is everybody doing? It is warm in here tonight. I'm not quite sure what's been going on. We have had the fire going, I think, solidly for about 3 months now. So it's normally pretty toasty in our house, but it's normally quite cold upstairs. So I'm not quite sure why it's really warm tonight or whether I'm just feeling it's really warm. So, I might be having a power surge. You never know. I might be having a power surge at the same time. I have got the microphone on again this week, but this time I've changed the position of it. I've actually put it on top of my tripod, so it's picking up hopefully my sound coming from there, because I had put it on my jumper last week and it was more muffled than it had been the previous week, so I think I just put it in like a place where it sort of folded over and got really muffled. So that's what we're trying this week. We're changing one thing at a time. We're following the scientific method and we're changing one thing at a time, and we'll get there. I'm going to start off with the best thing that I've received this week, because it was a beautiful gift out of the blue for something that I really, really love, and I know you really love it as well. Now, I showed you these a couple of weeks ago, probably a month ago now, and these are a pair of Witch's boots that are made by Jane at the Old Gingerbread House on Etsy, and I love these. I bought them to display at Halloween, but they now live in my kitchen. They sit on my kitchen clock and they're going to stay there because they are too amazing to put away. And then she sent well, the first thing I had was a little Etsy notification actually, and it said your order has shipped. And I was like, I haven't ordered anything else from her. And she said, I've sent you a little gift. And I think this is something that she's going to be stocking in her Etsy shop, and she also let me know that she's starting to do a range of silver jewellery. Now, I've not seen any of it, but I have a feeling it's going to be amazing. And I've left these in the packet to show you. She sent me a mini pair. Let's open them actually. Sorry for all the rustling. I wonder if they smell as amazing as the first ones. Now, our house actually smells amazing at the moment anyway, because Chris has just made like a spiced cake. But look at those. Oh my goodness me. Oh my goodness me. So they are exactly the same as the big pair. They're just smaller. How, look at the lacing on those. And they smell, they smell amazing. So I will put all the details down below. Go and favourite her shop, because she makes them by hand, they're not always necessarily in the shop. So if she's made a pair and then sold them, they're not always necessarily in the shop. So it's definitely worth favouriting the shop and then keep coming back to see what she's got, and then you'll get notifications as well when she puts new things in the shop. But look at those. Thank you so much for those, Jane. They really made my day. They're going to go on the fireplace. I know exactly where they're going to go. So the big ones are staying in the kitchen. These ones are going to go on the fireplace. In fact, I've got a tree all year round. I have kind of like this lit tree that sits next to the fireplace, and so they're going to go on there. So that absolutely made my day. Absolutely made my day. Right, the other thing before we get started on showing you some stitching, these have been super, super popular in my Etsy store. So if you want to go and grab some of those are now available in my Etsy store, and they've got backs to stitch as well, and a beautiful way of displaying your lovely button collection. Now, I think people have been buying buttons. I have a search on eBay which is vintage mother of pearl buttons. Now, I have noticed over the last week or so that a lot more of them have got bids on. Little packs of buttons have got bids on, so I think a few people have been buying up some buttons, which is also fabulous. Right, let's have a look and see. I've actually made some notes. I even went as far as putting a little clip on them because I was going to hang them somewhere, and as yet I've not found anywhere to hang them to look. Let's have a look and see what I have been stitching on. Move that out of the way. I have one finish and one new start. So let's have a look at the finish. In fact, let's just show you before I get started my book. That's what it looks like. I have used some butterfly stickers from one of those antiquarian sticker books, and I have also used some of my sampler stickers from Northumberland Sampler House, which are beautiful, and I think they're back in stock, so you can go and have a look at those. There we go. So the first thing I finished was Scattered Seeds. Remember Me. So this was a tribute piece for my dad, who passed away on the 4th of February 2009, and that is how it ended up looking. Now, it was charted to have the brown colour inside the leaves, but I started to stitch it and I realised that I preferred it with them empty. There is stitching inside the roses. Yeah, there is stitching inside the roses, but it's very similar to the 36 count Vintage Country Mocha. So you can't really see it unless you're very close up. But I really enjoyed that. It stitched up really quickly, really quickly. And I've got a piece that is a fat quarter, and I've got two of the other designs that are sort of similar and use similar colours, so I shall stitch those up as well and then finish them all together. Sky hooks. All these things we can invent nowadays, we can't invent sky hooks. And the other thing that I have started was this, which is Needle and Flax by Teresa Koga. This was from her Patreon, but I'm pretty sure I've seen it as a release for Nashville this time. And I decided to stitch it on my piece of Weeks Dye Works tin roof that I got from Northgate Needlecraft, yeah. I don't know if it was a Needleworks or a Needlecraft. I think it's a Needlecraft. Northgate Needlecraft. Now, again, this probably would have benefited from a little go with the iron, but this is where I've got to. Now, I'm using the called for colours pretty much. Here they are. Oops. Beautiful Teresa Koga colours as well. I think you can spot a Teresa Koga palette at 20 paces, but beautiful colours. But I think the grey that she's picked out is quite a greenish grey, 647, and there is a needle there, and there's going to be another one here, and there's a spinning wheel over on this side that uses that grey, and I think it's too close to the ground, the background colour. So I have picked out another one. What did I pick out? I picked out Weeks Dye Works Galvanised, which is more of a kind of steely grey than a greeny grey, and I think it'll be enough just to stick out, just to show up, let's get the right terminology, on here. You can see it when you're close up, but it will be enough. And I don't know what I'm going to do with this when I've finished it. I half thought about actually making it into a pouch, into a stitchy pouch, because I've been hanging my antique samplers. We've got some friends coming to stay over half term, and they'll be using this bedroom. And whilst I'm quite happy for my mum to work around lots of antique samplers, because she knows where they are and where they're sort of stacked and stuff, it's not fair on two of my friends to have to live in a room where they can only sort of put their feet literally in certain places on the floor. So I did hang some of my antique samplers, and I'll put a picture up if you haven't seen on Instagram as to where they've ended up. I've still got quite a few more to go, the electrics in our house, I think, probably were, well, they're crazy. They're totally crazy. So it's not really easy to guess where wires might go. So a lot of people recommended command strips. I wasn't so keen on command strips, but I've had a lot of good feedback from them saying, no, actually the heavy duty ones really are great. So I've ordered me some of those, so I can hopefully put up some more of them in places where I fear that I may actually hit cables or pipework. But I'm loving this. It's stitching up really, really quickly. This is a 36 count, which surprised me a little bit because I was convinced I'd ordered a 32. They hadn't got it wrong. I'd got it wrong. I remember now I'd gone onto the website and it had said 32 count out of stock, and so I'd switched to a 36 count, but in my head I was still stuck on 32 count. So I'm using 2 strands, which in hindsight I don't think is going to be a bad thing, but it is a little bit tighter than I would normally use, says she, stitching a year in the woods on 36 count with 2 strands. But there we go. So I'm really pleased with the way that one is coming along. And that was everything I stitched on this week. That was it all. Right, I've got quite a lot of kind of news and things to impart to you in this floss tube, so I'm going to sort of smatter them in. Let's do the freebie. I found this lovely freebie from Mill on the Floss Samplers. It's one of those ones where it's not an immediate download. You have to, well, it is an immediate download, but you put it in your basket and pay for it even though it's zero tariff. And then when you get your confirmation through, which was instant, it's on the download there. So it's not a case you just go along and click a button and download it. You do have to put it in your cart, pay for it, and then it comes as a download then, but it is free. I just thought that was lovely. And I have, this is stitched on Tabby Cat. Yes, sorry. It's a specialty dye from Tabby Cat hand dyed linen. But I have got some Weeks Dye Works pear, or red pear, that would be a perfect colour for that. And you get a couple of different versions. So you just get like a black and white one, and that's just stitched in a single colour of floss. But you also get a version of it where there are some suggested colour placements as well. So if you wanted to stitch it on like a more neutral colour and use different colours, you could. They've given you some suggestions as to where you might put your sort of reds and greens, I think it is. Oh, they've used a melon, very dark, which I think is like a pinky, like a watermelon-y colour. Navy blue, black avocado, and Christmas red. So it's charted in a Verosoir with a DMC conversion. So those colours are sort of a Verosoir names, I think, but it's like a watermelon, a blue, a green, and a red. Beautiful, beautiful. Right, what else have I got to show you? Let's just remind you of some giveaways from the last video. So you've got another week to enter, but you do have to go to the previous video to enter. So it is the new releases from Crowsfeet Stitching, and there are 4 separate giveaways to enter. You'll have to go back onto the video to find out what the keywords are, mainly because I can't actually remember what they are. But there's a giveaway for these 2 little pillows. There is a giveaway for the big sampler that the pillows came from. There is a giveaway for this sampler, and also for the 2 little pillows that come from that sampler as well. So go back, if you haven't entered, go back to the previous FlossTube. Don't worry about watching it all, just scroll through, find the bit about the competition, use the keywords and enter on the previous one. A little bit of strike news. Thank you so much for all the support for the striking teachers. It is something that nobody ever makes a decision about lightly. Nobody ever wants to not be teaching. As much as we all kind of whinge and moan sometimes about the job, it's never about the actual teaching. It's the things that surround the teaching that sometimes get a bit red tape, a bit on top of us. But spending time with the children and teaching the children is something that we all are in it for, and it's something that we feel passionate about, that we shouldn't be being shortchanged, but the children shouldn't be shortchanged either. So we were due to strike again on Tuesday. That strike has been called off because, and I think it might just be the Welsh Government have actually come to the table and put forward a pay offer. I don't think this pay offer will be accepted, but at least they've come to the table and they are talking to the unions. So we're very hopeful that that things might happen. The strike is technically only postponed until March the 2nd. And there's supposedly 2 more strike days on the 15th and 16th of March, which I'd rather not do. I need those days. Teaching A-level biology, you need every lesson because the course is so packed. So fingers crossed it's either sorted out by then or everybody's still talking. Right, other good news. I had a message from Vivian. Now you might remember Vivian's husband made me this box for O Tannenbaum, and I'll put a picture of it up there because for some reason I can't lay my hand on the chart at the minute. I bought the chart from Vivian, and I sort of had said to her in a message, oh, I'll need to try and find the box now. And then a week or so later the box arrived and her husband had made it because he'd made her one as well. And so many of you had said, oh my goodness me, where do you get that box? Can he make the boxes? And he'd never really wanted to. Well, I think Vivian's twisted his arm now. So he's going to start making these. This is how it's going to work. Vivian actually sells charts that she's finished with through one of the stash sales sites. Let me get the right one, I wrote it down. So she sells through UK CrossStitchers stash sales group when she sells any charts that she's finished with. Okay, and that's how I got to know her. So what's going to happen is he is going to sell the boxes that he makes through that Facebook group on a kind of like first come first served. He'll put up what he's made, they'll get sold, he might make some more. They're not taking orders, he doesn't want to make hundreds and hundreds of boxes, but he is going to be making some of them. So if you are interested in getting hold of one of these, make sure that you're part of that group and get the notifications turned on so that when he does post some, you see them. That box is meant for the called for fabric. So the called for fabric for that is the 36 count. So you'd need to be sewing on either a 36 count or an 18 count for it to fit the box. So, yay! Well done, Trevor. Thanks, Trevor. So yeah, I'm so excited. What else have I got on here? Oh, I've got a couple of little samplers to show you that I may have acquired. I've got a little bit of haul, a very little bit of haul. I've got my paper gang box to show you, and we're going to finish eating the treat box from last week. Them funny chicken crackers and all. We're going to go for it. And it's gone out of my brain. Let's do the samplers. That we have here. So I picked up three unframed samplers. Now the first two came together, but I don't believe that they are related in any way. I haven't done my research, but I don't believe they're related. Let me show you the big one first that's on. Now this has been stitched onto some ground fabric because it is a little bit fragile in places. So this is the sampler. Still got really beautiful colours, Let me remind myself of who this is. This is Esther Dalzell. Dalzell. Somebody might be able to help me with that one, especially if that's your surname. I don't think she's going to be too hard to find because it's quite an unusual name. And she stitched this in 1850. Was it 1850? 1819. So I would imagine she's born 1805, between 1805 and 1810, somewhere like that. It's got a little bit of stitch loss, but it's also got enough to chart her. So there's that one. I just love the boat and the border that she's got at the bottom there, and just the colours. The colours are amazing. Right, actually, and then this one came with it. Now, this one is by Anne Strong. Finished this work June the 8th, 1847. So a little bit newer, not that much newer. And there is her work. Now I love the border. That kind of scroll border is amazing. Absolutely amazing. And I can't wait to start picking out colours for her. She's in a little bit of a better condition, although we have got a few little holes, and I don't think she's ever been in a frame. The colours on the back are slightly different. We can see those the pink blossom on the trees, which on the front has faded out. So she has been in the sunlight at some point, but I'm not sure she's been in a frame. Love it, love it. Look at the colours in the border. It's almost like an autumny border with those reds and russets and some greens. There you go, look. If anyone's ever worried about carrying a thread, there's a great big one that goes from there to there. So there's those two. Now there's also this one, and I bought this one because I loved the colours of it. I've decided I love a marking sampler. I just love a marking sampler. I keep looking at the ones I've got, the ones I've reproduced, and they're just amazing. But this one has got the most amazing colours: blue, green and purple. So this is Maud Mary Dodrell. Yeah, Dodrell. November 1876. Now we haven't got her age, but again, I would imagine it's probably not going to be too hard to find her, or at least a couple of candidates for her. Now she's stitched onto this kind of paper at the back, and there is a little tear in it, but the colours on the front are actually pretty good. But what unusual colours. Now, talking of unusual colours and talking of a turn up for the books, do you remember a couple of weeks ago I told you about a sampler that I'd bought, and when it turned up, the sampler that they had sent me was nothing like the one that I had purchased. They'd sent me the wrong one, and bizarrely they didn't want it back. Actually, let me just grab her because she's just there. There we go. So this was the one that they'd sent me, and I'd messaged them and I said, I'm sorry, that's not what I bought. And the woman was like, it's got to be, it's the only one we've got. I was like, no, it's not, sorry, have a look at the photos. And she looked and she said, oh my goodness, yeah, that's definitely not. So they were going to have me return her, but they'd sent it out with free postage. It wasn't that expensive in the first place. They were going to have to pay for postage on the way back, and then when they sold her again, they'd have to pay free postage again. So I think they just said, right, we'll just call it quits. And they asked me to dispose of her. Well, that's not happening. But then I had a phone call this week, and it was the lovely lady who I dealt with, and she said, you'll never guess what, we found it. They'd moved warehouses and they'd found the sampler that I'd actually bought. She thought when they couldn't find it, that they must have sold it, and the girl who did the listing had actually accidentally picked the wrong photograph. And so they sent me that one. Now this is Ada Sayers, aged 11, 1880. Now the reason that I liked this one so much is because of the colours. It's like a real turquoise blue and red. Oh, got a random hair. A real turquoise blue and red. Now it's not the finest worked sampler, I'll give you that, but just those colours. I've seen red and green samplers, but this with the turquoise. Now I would imagine if I were to take her out of the frame, the green is probably more of a typical green, but do you know what? I'm charting her with that turquoisey colour because I think that is amazing, and I think she's going to end up as a drum. I think I might finish this one as a drum. But I couldn't believe it when she phoned up and said, oh yeah, we found her. And I have a space on my sampler wall about this size. Just randomly, it just got left at the top, and so she will fit perfectly in there. Right, little bit of haul. Now, I bought some bits and bobs from the FatQuarterShop. I bought some PDFs from the FatQuarterShop. Now they do post to the UK, but I bought some PDFs because the PDFs are cheaper from the FatQuarterShop than they are from Etsy. And the ones I wanted were some of them from the Stitching with the Housewives. So let me show you what I got, and then I'll show you what they sent me in return. So I bought this one, which is called Fraser Fur Farm, because I'd seen Made by Michelle McGraw stitch this, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. So I got that one. I also got Happy Camper, which is one of the What's in My Cup range. I just liked that one, really liked it. And I've been after this one for ages. This is Daisy May, the little black rabbit. And they sent me a code which is £10 or $10 off $50 for your first shop at FatQuarterShop. So I'm going to put the link down below. Okay, so you use that link and you'll get $10 off your first $50 shop. So if you've been thinking about getting some PDFs or something posted out, then that's like 20% off. And as I said, these are cheaper from the FatQuarterShop than they are from the Stitching with the Housewives Etsy shop, because obviously their Etsy shop's hosted in America. We then have to pay additional taxes and things like that. So these two were $5 charts, and they were exactly $5 converted into UK, so they were about £4.75, something like that, whereas on Etsy they are £5.20, I think. So it's not much, it's 50p a chart, but hey. And that one was one of their $10 charts, so that was about £9 something, whereas on Etsy it would have been £10.50 or £10.60 or something like that. So I got those. So if you've never shopped with FatQuarterShop before and you want to try, use the code below and you can get $10 off your first $50 shop. And then I sent for Lakeside Needlecraft because I wanted some black to stitch on. Now I wanted to do it on 36 count because I want to do these two as sulky conversions, and you know what I'm like for 36 count fabric with sulky. And they don't do a black in 36 count, they do either a magical grey or a charcoal. Now these didn't come labelled, but from looking at the pictures, this is the charcoal and this is the magical grey. So the charcoal is more of a bluey grey, the magical grey is more of a browny grey. Okay, so those are the 2 pieces that I got, and I got a fat quarter of each of those. I think I'm probably going to use this one, but I have got the, oh, I was going to grab it as well, the Plum Street Samplers red barn chart that she released that you could either stitch on like a neutral or a black. I'm going to use one of these for that as well. So there's that. Now, I know you like to see my paper box, my Paper Gang paper boxes. So this one came this week. I just love that they just come in the post. Beautiful. Now this one's a slightly different one this week, or this month should I say, because I get one every month. There's what it looks like inside. Now I'll show you what came in this week's, or this month's, I keep saying week. Nice thin gold biro. Their biros are really nice, like really nice. And we got a little green stamp with a butterfly and a little insect of some kind, which kind of goes with the theme of the box. Got those. And then this is what came. So a whole sheet of gold clam stickers, and then this lovely notepad which has got a gold edge to it, and there's the front, and then the back has got insects all around it, so for writing notes and letters and things like that. And then you had, check there's nothing else under it, all of these envelopes. So there's some plain pink ones, really nice quality, some, another plain pink one, some pink and ones with shells on, some pink ones with other bugs on. Is that the 4 different types? Yeah. So 4 different types of envelopes for writing your letters and putting into the envelopes. And you think, who writes letters these days? Not enough people. Not enough people. I've been thinking actually since Christmas that I really wanted to actually send out more cards and letters and things like that, because I really do like getting them. I'm just not very good at sending them. And so I've actually been thinking about a resolution, not a New Year's one, but actually to try and just send out one thing a week, just to a friend or somebody I've not spoken to for a while, to send them a little letter or a little card or something like that. I love these Paper Gang boxes, I really do. Down below I have a code, not because they give me anything free, but I have a code where you can get £4 off your first box. So it's down there. There's a lot of codes to look for today. Everything just seems to be codes today. And then lastly, we have the remnants of the treat box. So if it is not your bag to watch me eat random things, then I shall see you next week. Stay classy, Stitchers. But if you are invested in the rest of this box, then let's see what we've got. We ate all of those. They were delicious. They were delicious. Right. Now what I forgot to bring was a drink, because I'm going to have a look at an artificial flavoured, chicken flavoured cracker, followed by some other stuff. So this is Meow Meow, House of Snacks. No artificial colouring, that's good to know. Right. Oh, there we go. Oh, that's not what I was expecting. What? Oh, well, that's good, isn't it? Let me just show you what I've just seen. I think it's from Canada. This has come out of. Look what it says in the top corner there. I'm glad I've only eaten one. Can you see? It says warning, cancer and reproductive harm. I'll not have another one of those, I don't think. Cancer and reproductive harm. Oh my goodness. Yeah, we'll not have any more of them. They don't taste bad, but God knows what they've got on them. Right, so we have got left a choquito, which a lot of people in Australia have told me that they have over there, but they don't necessarily think it originates with them. A custard cream cake, something called a Jacobina, and one of these little gold sweets. I will be checking to make sure that my uterus isn't going to fall out. No, doesn't seem to have anything similar on it. Ooh. This seems like a little stack of weirdness. I don't know how you're supposed to... It tastes alright, but it's like eating the, you know when you bake a pie and you can't get the amount of pastry right, and there's always like the bit that goes round the pie dish and gets a little bit burned. That's essentially what it tastes like. Now I quite like that bit. And it doesn't have a cancer or reproductive warning on it, so that's 100% improvement on the last snack. Okay. A custard cake. Looks like the packet. Oh, it's got a really strong smell. It really smells of alcohol, actually. You know what that tastes like? You know when you buy like a really cheap birthday cake that looks fabulous, it's got all this amazing like icing, frosting on the top, but the actual cake is... No, I don't think I'll bother with that again. I'm looking forward to this one. I've been led to believe that this may be nice. And this is Nestle anyway, so at least we're not going to have too many problems. That's not real chocolate. It tastes a bit like, if you've ever, this probably makes sense with Australia, if you've ever eaten chocolate that's designed to be sold in a hot country, it's different, so it has a higher melting point, so it doesn't go all squishy on the shelves. Honestly, if you're Australian and you come to the UK, have some of our chocolates, much nicer. And then this little gold packet. I have no idea what this is. It could be anything. I'm hoping it's something nice to finish with. It looks like a little caramel thing. Ooh. Well, that's a turn up for the books. It is, it's like a caramel. Now, Ness downstairs has a little sweet shop with jelly beans in it. Now, I may have had to restock that for her because I may have eaten the jelly beans. And so I restocked it for her. And then I may have eaten a few more jelly beans. And one of the ones I really like is like a toasted marshmallow one. It's one of those ones where you get like all the flavours, all the nice flavours, not like Bertie Bott's any flavour beans. And it tastes like that. Well, that's a bonus. Right, well, if I'm here next week with my reproductive warning, yeah, I'll see you next week. Stay classy, stitchers.